Again, man, appreciate everybody being on this. This is awesome to get all 9 of the originals on this call, just to talk about some of our memories, man. Like I said earlier, 217 kids showed up the very first day of practice, and 4 years later, the 9 of us survived this thing. I mean, that's a pretty cool. That's pretty special, man. And we're bonded forever with that, man. Knowing we all went through the same adversity, same battles to finish, man.
Funny you asked about the first game, like expectations. You know me, I ain't got a whole lot of sense, so I was just hoping to knock some people's teeth out. But I wanted to have my name on that shirt because I knew there was going to be signs saying for like the first tackle, so I ran in on kickoff, and I ain't tackled nobody. Matter of fact, I think I was out of breath by the time we got done. I ain't tackled a soul, man. I mean, not a single solitary soul. I was like,
yeah, I had no idea what to expect, zero expectations, didn't know what we were getting into. Like you said, in a huddle with dudes, I don't even know their name, just out there.
Forrest, I don't know if you remember this, but so we scrimmaged Trinity Valley like the week before.
Yeah.
And their defensive ends were some of the biggest human beings I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm just walking into this game, all right, now this one's for real. I'm praying to God these dudes are not these man-children that were running around us like we were standing still the last weekend, because otherwise Terry and Orlando were going to have a bad day.
Yeah. And I remember that the TVCC scrimmage was so bad that I went from starting lineup to field goal unit. I was so embarrassed because they announced like the first ever starting lineup for UMHPA. It's a Trinity game, and they announced me, and I'm just standing on the sidelines as Larned runs on the field. I'm like, my parents are like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I lost my spot this week." It was rough. And it was one of those things. I was ready for us to score so I could actually say I played in the first game, you know?
Hey, I don't know if y'all have that Trinity Valley film, but I lined up, and I don't think I got off the line one time. The guy was playing press coverage, and he was about 6'3". No chance. Hey, I'm not kidding. That first year, and I think that first game against Trinity, our best play was a quarterback sneak because
hey, man, right here.
Look over, and Coach Harris is doing this. We're doing quarterback sneak again for about 7 yards, and then yeah.
Oh, Rock Cartwright, he was running power at me, and he was looking at me the whole time on the sideline, and Carmona's like, "Well, you got to hard join him." And I'm like, "What's a hard join?" He's like, "You hunker down and you just rock back into him." I'm like, "All right, I got it." So next time I went out there, I put my hand down, and he was looking right at me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got you now." And where I came out, he hit me so hard. I think when I woke up, like my face was buried in the dirt.
I tell you what was real interesting was looking at some of the team conference time when we started the program. You know, McMurray was really good. Howard Payne was really good. Hardin Simmons was really good. And
Mississippi College.
Yeah, Mississippi College.
Mississippi College.
Real good.
Good Lord.
I think it just come off of being
D2.
D2 or NAI, one of the two.
D2.
Defensive end who looked like
I remember our freshman year, their starters were all still scholarship players.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that defensive end. Shaw was his last name.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Shaw.
I've never been hit so hard in my life. He literally stood me up on my heels with his left hand and punched me in the helmet with his right hand and knocked me down on his way to sack the quarterback. And I'm just like, run, yelling at the quarterback. That's so horrible.
That's Forrest. So we're at Mississippi College playing that game, and it was the first sack I gave up in college. An inside move on me, and I tried to go inside, and I tripped over Forrest because he had gotten knocked from his tackle spot on the left side. Shaw had tossed him all the way across into me. I was just like, well, ain't what we can do about that.
You know, one of the things I often reflect on is just Coach Fred's brilliance and the risk that he took on all of us You know, we didn't come out of elite junior college programs. You know, we were basically coming out of high school, you know, 18, 19 years old, from varied backgrounds, and, you know, to pull us together as a team, you know, where a lot of coaches that were standing up programs at the time, and I think you probably still see it today, are going out and recruiting real college football players to build a team. But just the brilliance behind building a program and teaching guys to come together, I think was one of the key building blocks for our program.
No doubt.
Amen.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to piggyback off of what Forrest is saying, I think, you know, one of the things I know that I took away from Coach Fred and the program is, you know, one, just how hard it is, but the kind of character it takes to be able to successfully be part of a program that is that difficult. And you look at the guys that call themselves Crusaders now, and the kind of men that, you know, we were surrounded with, and you look at, you know, the things that we've learned going through the program, and now have applied that in life. And all of us, you know, have taken those characteristics, those character traits that we built upon, and have applied them in different parts of our lives. And it shows to the success and the brotherhood that we all have collectively. And that's one of the big takeaways that I have, is this program really helped all of us just become outstanding men, I believe.
As freshmen, did y'all honestly like visualize the success, the conference championships, the national championships, the facilities, the support? Could y'all honestly see that?
No. I mean,
Not on this level.
Let's be real. All I kept thinking was that from year to year, we're going to get better, because you practice and you work hard all the time. So you knew what kind of ability we had. And I kept thinking, we'll win conference. Right there at you know, we 3-4, or 3-7, 4-6, 8-1, 9-1. Those 2 years we went 8-1, 9-1. I thought, I was like, we're going to win it. You know, we kind of losing the game. We're close. But, man, where the program is now, man, it's amazing.
So, okay, so help me remember, because, like, it's been 20 years, or 19 years, but we came in and it was in the off season, and I remember Pete saying, all right, boys, what are you going to be about, you know? And I think we all wrote words down. I can't remember exactly how it went, but we ended up coming up with that code of the Cru, which I thought.
It was the first year Coach Fredenberg came in, well, that second year after we lost, and Coach Fredenberg said what Jeff said, and that's the year that we formed the Unity Council.
That's it.
And we had that core group, and Coach Fredenberg was like, I'm not gonna keep losing. So
that's when it came. That's when it came together. So, you know, talking about that, the other thing that I remember vividly is over on those two fields, when those practice fields were, you know, where the baseball field is now.
Yeah.
And Pete would roll out. He'd roll out that big old scissor lift in the middle of the defensive field, and then we would have 3 rotations, and you would not. It was 3 groups, and each rotation was 12 plays.
Yeah.
You remember?
And so
you get done with 12 plays, you have snot bubbles coming out of your mouth. You're pretty sure you're gonna die, and then he blows the whistle, and you go to the next rotation, which is now 3rd and short, our inside drill. And I remember thinking I was going to die, but then I look back and we survived it.
I got a good Coach Fred from our freshman year. Nice. So I don't know if y'all remember that first year, the offensive line, we had our lockers right in the middle of the locker room. Like that path you walk down, we were all there. So we're sitting there at 6:30, whatever time we rolled into the field house before morning practice.
It was earlier than 6:30.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the sun wasn't up. It was, and we're sitting there cracking jokes, and Pete walks in, and he said so. I don't know what he said, but of course, I just fired off with I called him Pistol Pete. And he looked at me just dead in the eye, and he said, "Lordy, the last person that called me that would have been your age." I'm just like, "Yes, sir. All right, leave him alone in the morning."
I remember the first time we were in the locker room at halftime, and he's talking about kind of finishing strong, and he's like, "Guys, I can wrestle a bear for 60 minutes."
Do anything for 60 minutes.
I thought to myself, no, you couldn't. But the very fact that you think that you could is inspiring me to like go out there and like try to fight a little harder.
I remember when we first got to UMHB, I remember it was Jared and the Bars Pullers that when I first got there, that introduced me to everything. And I remember Jared because me and Jared had a long history from Belton.
That's all right.
Then I see him at UMHB, and I'm like, all right. We would go at it in practice. Oh, it was so funny. And Jared he had a little swagger on him, man, and it was good. I think just us all playing together and being able to grow together made, pretty much solidified UMHB as being a real dominant team, because we once you put in that groundwork and built the team from brick by brick, and we would see cats come and go. And I think just building that bond from the jump is just like is unbelievable. And then just seeing like the progress now is really like a flower blossoming from a seed. Absolutely. Just seeing a vision.
But I mean, in reality, he was right. The ones that stayed were the ones that have the same values as the program. And that's why it is what it is, because you can get all the talent you want, but you got to have those guys that believe in the vision. And I think over the years, the coaches that are there now and the guys that have been there, have all bought into the vision, and, they pass that on to the players, and it just keeps perpetuating itself. And that's something that I'm proud of. It's not that, we won a national championship here, we did this there. It's that something that we helped build and we started just continues to just do well season after season after season. And that's something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, being a high school coach, and if y'all remember when we got recruited to Mary Hardin Baylor, you said who? Mary Hardin who? I mean, you didn't even know. Yeah. And now the pride that I get from the program and the guys that I played with, you guys, and the guys that have carried it on is amazing. Yeah. That's been the biggest thing for me, is just seeing how it's grown.
Yeah, I can remember being in high school, going to church, and about to graduate, and all these little old ladies at church asking me, "Where are you going to school? Where are you going to school?" And I'd say, "Mary Hardin Baylor," and they go, "Baylor?" Yeah. And I was like, "No, Mary Hardin Baylor." And they're like, "Baylor?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, Baylor, whatever. Baylor." Yeah, Baylor. And then nowadays, when people, if you say Mary Hardin Baylor and people don't know and they try to say Baylor, you're like, no. It's Mary Hardin Baylor. And, correct them. Back then, you just let it slide. But now, man, that pride and what you've accomplished, like, no. It ain't Baylor. It's Mary Hardin Baylor.
Hey, Jack, you asked about if we could see the vision. Well, I was on campus before Coach Fredenberg got there, and when he had his office in that little,
it was a portable,
the trailer behind the library, wasn't it?
On the library,
him and Karen.
Yeah. So I called him. He didn't know who I was. I walked in, and I told him, we talked for a while. I told him I want to play football. Well, about 5 minutes later, his oldest son Denver walked in, and he got a piece of chalk, and he goes up to the board and did a circle and said, "Well, we got one," something like that. I mean, that's how do you see a vision? I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. I remember Jeff and I talking about, we'd love to play Mountain Union, in the playoffs in the snow. We talked about that. But to watch UMHB play Mountain Union in a national championship game, I mean, it's just it blows my mind to think about it. I think it's incredible that Coach Fredenberg stuck around. Yeah, I mean, he stuck around for all of us, and he did see that vision, Jack, that you're talking about. He did see it, and we didn't know it at the time, but he was building a culture like none other in Division III, and he could have left for a group like us. And even 22 years later, I don't know what season, 22 now, 23, year 23. So it's pretty incredible that he's just wanted to stick around and he saw that vision that
y'all have already alluded to it, some of y'all, about your recruiting trip, but I remember him coming to my house like you're talking about, Dalen and Dicius and you guys, but he said, Jeff, if you come to Mary Hardin, or when you come to Mary Hardin Baylor, by the time you're a senior, we're going to compete in the national playoffs. And he knew I wanted to be a coach. And he said, I'm going to hire you to coach football for Mary Hardin Baylor. And everything he told me was true. Our senior year, we played in the playoffs. We got beat, but we did play. We did compete. And to what you just said, Jared, geez, we're lucky.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, I remember, we talk about a lot of stuff that went on at the field house. I remember the first year, 2 years, like just campus, the buzz, because it was like they had never had a full-fledged football program. And there were a lot of people excited. I mean, you got to think about it like, it's easy to support a winner. But y'all remember back early on, like even the students, even a lot of people who didn't even play sports would come out and be a part of stuff, and it was just interesting. And I know there were some people who didn't want it to happen because, there was always a stigma everywhere that football players ain't in trouble. But one thing I remember the most about UMHB, not just for the football program, back, people on campus that had to do with the program were always kind and always willing to talk to you about stuff, even if it wasn't related to the program. So, and I know that helped a lot because when we were down there, we were working, fellas.
You talking about the support, man. I remember, how that walk from Trinity, from the locker room, kind of underneath the bleachers, kind of coming out at like midfield or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of people that were in the stands on that home side, we had more fans than they did that very first game. And I was in shock. I really didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, if you think about it, but just think about Belton when we got there, when the football program and what Belton is now. Like, the football program helped grow the community to what it is now. And like you go back now and it's unrecognizable from when we were there prior. We had the one little Walmart and then the Little Caesars Pizza. And Shipley's, and man, it really wasn't an HEB, and really wasn't too much else,
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, fellas, and there's no better feeling than coming on the campus despite all the new things, but man, that state something else. Because we play our 4 years, we played at Belton that entire time. There had always been some about the stadium starting and the diagrams, and for the stadium to be where it is, right there in the heart of campus, it don't get much better than that.
And when y'all talk about that though, like community, that's crazy because you look at what Coach Fred wanted to do, and it blossomed through the whole community. Because, like you said, the community is unrecognizable. This campus is unrecognizable. So you look at that. You look at the growth and everything that goes with that. That's awesome.
I met a Hardin Simmons linebacker that played back in 98, 99. And one of the biggest compliments that I've ever gotten about our team was that I was kind of blowing us off. Like, we weren't that good. We didn't win a lot of games those first couple of years. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, but I knew, and we knew that Mary Hardin Baylor was an up and coming program. Just by the way y'all played, how hard you played, how you hit us. And I was like, dang, man, that was pretty cool. Cause even these other teams could see that we were coming up. So I love that.
That's cool.
I hope y'all really feel that sense of pride of what y'all all accomplished, man. Every time we sit in the office just messing around, telling old stories, man, I keep that original 9 alive, man, all you guys. Yeah, and I see kids come and go and mentoring kids and try to talk to kids. And just understand, man, I was there in your shoes one day, and trust me, it's easy to quit, but it's so much more rewarding to stick it through, you know. And finishers, man, always have a special place in my heart, because this is a special place. It's not easy, but man, if you can finish, man, golly.